Thank you for joining our press conference this afternoon. My name is Officer Jonna Watson. I'm one of the public information officers for the Oakland Police Department. Today we have Chief Armstrong of the Oakland Police Department. He will be discussing yesterday's officer-involved shooting. That was August 25th, just around 2:30 in the afternoon in the 8400 block of Enterprise Way. I would like to address and really ensure that our media and our community understand that from the initial onset statement from the Oakland Police Department, we have always said that the individual had a non-serious injury. The injury is a minor injury, was medically treated. And at this time, we are unable to medically and case investigative-wise determine if this individual was struck by a bullet. So I think that is really important that our media and our community partners understand. And as the investigation continues, we'll be able to provide more information. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Oakland Police Chief Armstrong.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. First, I'd like to say that since becoming chief about 7 months ago, this is the first time I've come before you to speak about an officer-involved shooting. I recognize that officer-involved shootings pose the highest risk to safety of our officers, safety of our community, and I think it is those type of actions that our community want to see transparency and very clear understanding of the circumstances that led to that particular incident. We understand that this has a traumatic effect on our community, all those involved, including officers, family members, and others. I'm here to assure you as chief that we're conducting a thorough and complete investigation. We'll share as much information with you and our community as we can. I think today is 24 hours afterwards, so we're very limited in all the information that we have currently, but I'll definitely take you through what we have and what we know so far. Consistent with department policies, this shooting is being investigated by the Oakland Police Department's Homicide Division, the Oakland Police Department's Internal Affairs Division, and our Community Police Review Agency, which is our CPRA, our independent investigative body. It is important to note that we are still in the progress of conducting interviews, reviewing body-worn camera footage, as well as surveillance video related to this incident. We do not want to compromise the integrity of this investigation. I understand that there are questions and concerns about this incident, and we'll provide those answers at some point. At the conclusion of this investigation, I'll provide a full and accurate report of this incident. Until this investigation is complete, I cannot share investigative details with you that might compromise this case. The Oakland Police Department is investigating this officer-involved shooting that occurred yesterday, August 25th, 2021. It occurred around 2:30 p.m. in the 8400 block of Enterprise Way. The male who I'm going to give you the name today involved in this incident is a gentleman by the name of David Garibay-Vargas. This gentleman was wanted in connection with a criminal warrant for manslaughter. He was not seriously injured as a result of this incident. However, it is determined that he is undetermined as to what he may have been injured by. And so I think as we continue to investigate, we'll be able to clearly determine what he was injured by, but the injury that he sustained was very minor. He was treated at the hospital and transported to the Alameda County Jail. No officers were injured during this incident. We recovered 2 firearms. The department will comply with SB 1421 regarding timelines of when the video will be released regarding this incident. With that, I'll take any questions that you might have. Again, like I said, I'm limited in what I can share at this point. It's only 24 hours into the investigation.
Henry? We'll go with Henry first.
We saw some chopper video that seemed to indicate a pickup truck outside La Quinta. Was there any evasion or
will say the pickup truck was involved in the incident. I won't say all of the circumstances regarding the actions of the pickup truck, but it was involved in the incident.
Just to clarify, it's unclear whether the suspect was hit by a bullet, but did officers shoot at him or in his direction?
Yes, shots were fired.
Go ahead, George.
There's did the person have a firearm, and do we know if it was discharged?
The person did have a firearm. We have not determined whether that firearm is discharged.
Melissa?
Chief, on a different story, the city just released a draft policy for
Melissa, may I ask you, what we can do, and I clearly understand we're going to have a separate topic. If we can go with the officer-involved shooting questions, if there are no more officer-involved shooting questions, we'll certainly transition. But I want to make sure all the questions for the officer-involved shooting has been asked, and hopefully we can provide that answer. Any other questions, Henry?
So can you say one or more than one officer opened fire?
At this time, we believe it's one officer. But again, the investigation is ongoing, and I think we'll, at the conclusion, we'll have a clear determination as to who all was involved in terms of firing.
Laura?
separate topic.
Okay, are we ready for the are we ready to transition to another topic? All right. Chief, are you ready?
Yes. You want to go back to who?
Go back to Melissa. On a separate topic, the city just released a draft vaccine mandate policy. How many of your officers are fully vaccinated?
Well, currently the City of Oakland is not requiring the officers to provide their vaccination status. The Oakland Police Officers Association is collecting that data. We are not, that data has not been shared with us specifically, but what we do know anecdotally is that nearly 80% of our officers have been vaccinated or has indicated that they've been vaccinated, but we can't confirm that.
So forgive me, just for clarification, the OPD officers, they don't fall under this policy, under this mandate, right?
Well, can you clarify the mandate?
This is just released by Karen Boyd with the city. The city's passing a mandate. It's a draft right now,
Right.
but they want to have a mandatory vaccination policy, very similar to federal
Right.
vaccine.
Yeah.
And so we are working closely with Karen. Yes, but again, it's still in draft form, so it hasn't
Yes.
gone into effect yet.
It has not gone into effect yet.
Who would you guys be, if it goes into effect, would OPD be among those city employees that would have to be required to be vaccinated, or have some kind of medical, religious exemption?
Yes, if it is a City of Oakland policy, it applies to the police department as well.
And how do you feel about that? Just on a personal note, you're the chief, and the pandemic has hit your community extremely hard. As the chief, what are your thoughts on having all your officers who are coming in contact with the community? Should they all be vaccinated?
I think for me, I want to follow the city's guidance. I don't want my personal opinion to guide how the city determines what's the appropriate response for all employees. I think we just want our employees, along with community members, to be safe, whether vaccinated or not.
Henry, are you on the same topic?
I'm going to, sorry, just go back to, can you spell the rebate part of the OIS suspect?
I can get that for you. Okay. And then are we now transitioning to a different topic?
Yes.
Okay,
No,
go ahead, Laura. Yes.
Sorry, I have
I'm sorry,
a question
Rachel.
about the OIS.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
When you say that it's unclear if he was shot or not, what do you mean by that? How is it unclear? I mean,
Yeah,
hospital or?
yeah. Based on the injury, it could potentially been a couple things. There was some glass that shattered. We could have, he could have been grazed. We just don't know at this point. But it was not a significant injury to him, and so it is not consistent with an actually gunshot, if you would.
Now we're going to transition to Laura Anthony, who's been patiently waiting.
Yes.
Thank you, Laura.
Chief,
Yes.
as we're sitting here today, there's indications that there's good progress toward your department being lifted from this federal oversight for the first time in 2 decades. You came here as a rookie, I think, in the late 90s.
Mhm.
It's been your entire tenure, pretty much. What are your thoughts on this possibly being finally lifted?
Well, cautiously optimistic. I mean, we like to, I'm appreciative of the progress that we've made. Our officers and department has been working really hard to comply with the requirements of the negotiated settlement agreement. I said from day one that it was going to be a priority for me. And so we've just been working as hard as we can to make sure that we're compliant with the mandates. It's good to see that we're being recognized for the work that's being done, but we have not crossed the finish line. And so there's still more work to be done. We are still diligently meeting with the federal monitor to make sure that we are meeting all of our mandates, but there's still more work that we need to do. But it is encouraging. And for our officers and for community, I think everybody should feel a sense of hope that we look forward to continuing this positive progress, because I think it is, a time for us to really show, I believe, everybody that this is a progressive department, that this is a reform department. And I think this is the beginning of that. And so, I was appreciative of the words that the plaintiffs' attorneys and others have said about the department.
As a follow-up, there were something like 52 tasks that need to be completed. My understanding is there's like 5 left, perhaps.
Yeah.
What would you say to those who think it's too soon? You're not ready. You need to complete all those tasks.
I don't know if 18 years is too soon. I think it's important that the timing has to be consistent with the department's performance. I think really for us, it is a time where we have been very focused on making sure that our actions are consistent with policy. We've been making sure that we're doing the things that we've been asked to do by the federal monitor as well as our police commission. So we recognize that that oversight is important. We also recognize that this is a different department and that I'm doing everything I can from my position to ensure that we're achieving a cultural change that the court has asked for. Also with a cultural change that I believe is important for law enforcement, not just in Oakland, but across the country. I think we can really be a model of what it looks like to reform a police department and come up with progressive policing policies and practices. And I think that's being highlighted in some of the things that were written in the documents that you've seen.
Can you provide an update on the Instagram scandal investigation, just where you guys are at with that?
Yeah, it's an outside investigation that I'm not privy to, but I know that the investigation is coming to a conclusion in the near future.
Do you have a timeline yet?
I don't. That is an independent investigation ran by the federal monitor that I'm not privy to.
So, 2 weeks ago, the case happened in Chinatown, 8th Street, and one of the victims, Mr. Lee, got hurt that one. So I don't want to know any updates on that case, because the volunteer said they shot the photo of the suspect and the suspect car. So they just want to know any updates.
Not any specific that I can speak to today, but I can have the PIO office work with you to work with our criminal investigations division to have our investigator follow up with you.
Okay, I think that's going to conclude our press conference
I
for
think
today.
Darwin had one question.
I'm sorry, Darwin, go ahead.
Do you think the police commission and the other structures set up in Oakland in recent years are enough to keep OPD from backsliding and losing the muscle memory it has to conduct IA investigation properly, do all the 52 tasks properly? Do you think the city government and the leadership and the institutions are capable of helping OPD maintain that once the monitor's gone?
Yeah, I think we're capable both from the internal component, which include our own internal Office of Inspector General, maintaining that office, ensuring that we have everything codified in policy. I think it's important that even it spans beyond who sits in the chief of police position, right? It needs to be policies that are reflecting the change in the organization, and that's what I've seek to do, is make sure that whatever we're doing is actually documented in policy, and that really is coming with partnership with the police commission. It is really bringing those policies forth to the police commission and having their input and feedback on those policies. And then I believe they are strong enough to hold us accountable. I think they have tremendous power and authority to bring forth the department and the chief when there is backsliding. And so I think they've shown their willingness to use that power and authority in the past. And so I think from that perspective, I think we're prepared. I also think with the new hiring of a city OIG, which will also do oversight, independent oversight of the department. I think that will also strengthen the police commission's ability to audit the department. So I do think there's multiple components. I think we will continue as a department to produce auditing reports to demonstrate to the public that we have not stopped internal audits of our actions. And so we look forward to creating a system of sustainability that will continue. I think it's important that as we seek to build trust in the department, that community sees that we are not changing, we are not resorting back to our old actions, and there's no regression.
And Chief,
Go ahead, Lisa.
so have you been vaccinated, Chief?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Now we are going to conclude the press conference. I want to thank you so much for your time and coming here today for valuable information to share to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.